What do you think about people denying that global warming is even real?
Well, I think that's a horrible thing. It's getting warmer every year, so the ice mountain, yeah, the ice caps they're melting every year. So if they melt, the sea level will increase, and some island like Hawaii, Japan, will disappear.
How bad is the pollution in China?
In some cities like Beijing and Huhehao, and some part of Shanghai, that's really serious. So you have to wear a mask when you go outside. You have to. It's required right now in Beijing. They don't wear masks. It's really harmful. It's really harmful to your body, to your health, and it's really easy to get cancer of your lung. When you go outside and walk like 500 meters without mask, it's same as you smoke 50 cigarettes.
50.
Yeah, 50 people. A lot of people in China. There's such a huge population, like 1.4 billion people in China. And China is not that big as Russia or something. So if we have really advanced technology like some other inventor, maybe we can solve it, but we'll see.
So we just got done interviewing Wang about global warming, and we're about to go to WSU to interview a professor of environmental science.
You put a frog in boiling water, it'll jump out. But you put a frog in cold water and you gently heat it, and you can cook the frog. So maybe we're the frog in the pot.
Is global warming a real threat?
I would say global warming is the big threat, especially for your generation. What we're seeing now is unprecedented. We are experimenting with our environment, with our Earth, without having any idea for sure what's going to happen. But we're starting to see the effects already. And unfortunately, CO2, methane to a certain extent, but CO2 stays around in the atmosphere so long so that what we're putting up now and what we'll be putting up in the next few years will stay in the atmosphere for 200 years. We're already seeing the effects of it. We're seeing species go extinct. We're seeing forests dry out, be infested by insects, killing trees, which makes them susceptible to huge fires. And the main thing is that some people think global climate change or global warming means everything will get warmer and drier, which isn't necessarily true. Global warming speeds up the hydrologic cycle, puts more evaporation up into the water and up into the atmosphere, and that's the cause of a lot of the storms that we're seeing, and we're going to be seeing more extreme storms. We've had a pretty steady climate for the last 10,000 years or so, and our agriculture, our societies, our cultures are all adapted to those conditions. And now we're seeing very dramatic changes in unpredictability, and that's a major concern. That's going to affect political upheavals. If people are starving and can't feed their families, they're not going to just take it quietly. You're going to have food riots, You're going to have more and more economic refugees pushing to come into countries that still have plenty of food. You're going to have a whole political systems confused. You're going to have horrible ethical dilemmas about how much to provide for these countries that are suffering. I would say that many of our problems are exacerbated by this increase in climate instability and global warming. So I'd put it right up there as maybe the most important problem facing global humanity. There's certainly been a shift in the recent political. The new administration has put people in charge of the Environmental Protection Agency that deny global warming or deny the human effects of it. They've pledged to step back from all of the efforts that we've made to cooperate with the rest of the world, including China now, in cutting global emissions and trying to cut it back. So it's a period of great uncertainty what's going to happen, but I regret that there's not a major commitment by the United States to do something about climate change. We thought we were moving in that direction, and now we don't know. We just don't know.
Sea level is obviously rising, slowly but surely. People inland are treating it as if it's not going to really affect people inland. What would you say to people that think that it's not going to affect people inland?
Where are all those coastal people going to go? And it's not, it's coming up in inches, and people think, well, that's not very significant. But it means that every storm surge is going to go in further. And if it's a flat coastal land, that could mean it's going in hundreds of feet, maybe even a mile further. And most of our cities are coastal cities because they developed back when we had sea trade. And so the major cities of the world are coastal cities.
Do you think that the human race is too deep to get out of its own mud? Or do you think that instructions?
We sometimes talk about tipping points, how far before it gets too extreme for us to do anything. We've already done some things that are irreversible. All we can do is try to slow the climate change. I mean, if the world and the United States and everybody got behind it, we could slow it, and we could keep it from being extreme, and we could keep the climate change slow enough that we would be able to adapt to it. What we're really worried is sort of massive ice melts, rising seas, failure of agriculture, all of these things happening all at once. And global climate change is kind of too spread out, too diverse. It's hard for people to really get worried about it. The change is so incremental. It takes a commitment. We got everybody together and pushed behind the moonshot, and we got scientists to the moon. We fought World War II, we mobilized everyone, but you could see the enemy or you could see the goal very specifically. We could do it. It takes a commitment.